Cleveland Clinic, Florida provides individualized treatment plans for excellent outcomes of health problems ranging from the most common to the most complex, even in cases considered untreatable by others. Cleveland Clinic, Florida. Every life deserves world-class care.
Yo, what up? Welcome to Tuesday, the KVJ After the Show podcast.
Yes!
Woo, 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 podcast.
Love it, Kevin.
Podcast for that ass.
Yeah. All right, gonna get to some of the emails that we got here today. One from Tatty talking about the homeless problem. Talking about what was on my mind earlier today. Something I personally wrestle with. I see homeless people out there, and I see both sides of the situation. I have empathy for anyone in that situation. But at the same time, there have been some recent problems, defecation issues, harassment, threatening, and it's chasing some businesses out. And I saw a woman yesterday just basically had a makeshift living room that was just kind of sitting on a sidewalk that a lot of people travel up and down and ride bikes and all this kind of stuff. And I know you'd be going, why do you have more right to this sidewalk than I do? But, you know, at the same time, it just seems like there are some ways that things have got to be. And so it's an unfortunate thing where you've got kind of these things where how do we create a perfect situation where you can find people who, for whatever reason, they're homeless? And it does vary. That we can find them a way to get them help. And it's not all the same kind of help. You know, some of them it's mental, some of it's drugs, some of it's just down on your luck unemployment.
And help that you can feel good about when you give it, too. You know, when you give a guy $1 at the gas station or at the stoplight, I don't know if I'm helping anything. I don't know if I'm doing the right work. And
I stopped doing that. And I'm like, well, how could you not? But I'm like, I've been taken so many times that I had seen so many issues with it happening that's why I said for me, I'm like, let's get this KVJ volunteer army. Let's do more stuff to truly do things to make a difference and help out the homeless community. And let's try to motivate people. Let's try to move this measure forward because I think it goes two ways. One, we do need to help out the people that are in this situation, but there is a certain part where you've got to say, look, there's not the compromise on saying you can't just take a shit in front of a storefront.
Right.
You can't do that. You can't make your bedroom in front of a sidewalk where now kids can't go down and ride their bikes and play and things like that. There's just a couple things where it's like, going, look, we're going to do what we can to help, but it's like it's a give and take. That's what society's all about. You know, give you a little bit, and we're going to try to give you some genuine help and try to get you in the right place, but doesn't mean that the world is your toilet or your bedroom. You know, you got to have certain laws and guidelines on that kind of stuff. So I truly do want to help, and I want to help with compassion, do what's right for them and for, I think, everybody else in society. But Tatty said, you know, Florida does not have nearly as bad of a homeless problem as Seattle. Businesses actually moving out of the area due to harassment, public defecation, homeless tenant problems. Yeah. Well, and that's it. And I could see that Seattle's, at least from what I understand, a more liberal city. And that's part of it, too, because it does. I mean, you want to consider their rights and, you know, just you're a person. You don't look at them as just like, you know, you're some kind of like just nameless, faceless object. I mean, there's a heart and soul behind, you know, what is going on. And there's got to be, you know, real empathy that goes on into that. But she said Columbia Sportswear might actually close their Portland office. Portland, I know, is a liberal city. And so, you know, that's part of it. So what are you going to do if you're a liberal city and you're like, well, we don't want to do anything that would be uncool for these homeless people, but then they start running out all the industries. You're going to find yourself Portland in a real problem.
A big problem. You're so focused on helping the homeless that you run out the actual businesses.
Well, then it just become one homeless tent city. I mean, that's it.
Insanity.
I mean, that's what you want to have. I mean, and this is kind of the double edge of it. I mean, there is a part where you have to say, look, we're going to go at this with empathy, with, you know, true intent to help out. But at some point, you got to say, yeah, but this isn't the alternate. We're not going to end it. We'll give you free reign for whatever because it's just the green granola thing to do. At some point, you got to say no. You know, like people are having death threats, female harassment. Are out there, and they're homeless people that are sexually harassing and threatening people and things like that. That's just, you can't do that in society. It doesn't, you know, if you're homeless, you don't get a special pass.
No.
That's what I'm saying. You don't get a pass to take a dump out front of a storefront. I can't. You can't. No one can. We can't do that.
We live in a civilized world.
Mm-hmm.
We have to all
you want to
act
help.
accordingly.
You want to help people, but you also want to make sure that it's not completely lawless out there. You don't want people throwing shit on the wall.
Right.
I get what you want for sure.
And I don't know what the answer is. I mean, it would be interesting to start making discussions. You know, do you find a place where it's not? Because I'm not a fan of like what we do at the prison system either. I believe there's a lot of people that, you know, they seem to put up walls and barbed wire and be like, okay, problem solved. No, I mean, you got real people in there. It's like, how do we get people? ideally everyone should have a purpose, should be doing something in our society and find a place where they're like, well, wow, I feel good about myself because today I contributed. How do we plug those people in, whether you're incarcerated, whether you're homeless? How can we find a way to do that? Where do you put them?
So I'm so confused in the whole prison stuff because on one end I hear prisons are terrible, they're fucking awful, there are animals in there, it's lawless, and then on the other end I hear prison's not that bad, it's pretty good even for murderers. I think it depends on the prison you're at.
Might
correct?
be, yeah, might be. But I think it would be great to have every goal to say, well, what can we do to try to get you in a position where you're plugging in, where you got a purpose, or there's something positive that's coming out of your time here. It's not just you're just sitting there biding your time. It's like, okay, now your objective has changed on a daily basis based on what you did, but it doesn't mean you're not going to be productive. You're just going to sit there and take up space all day.
Because what about people who do go to prison? They actually get degrees. They learn some shit. They learn.
That's
people do. So it comes down to, I think, the person, the personality.
That's what it should be. I mean, that's what it should. It should be where somebody gets out of prison. Instead, it's like going, oh boy, what are we going to do with them? And they've got nothing to do. It should be like, I'm out of prison, but I'm educated. I've got this, and now I've got a skill set. I'm actually a better person walking out than I was walking in because I wasn't ready. I was put in here for a reason because I needed some intense focus.
I always said that's how I'd really get in shape. If I was forced to do prison, I would get abs, and that's what I would get really, really.
Do we
swole.
have to take it to that extreme for you?
It would, yeah, it would, because that would be all I'd want to do in there. That and read, of course.
I feel like we're in need of some, real tough answers. Like, we got to get down, we got to get gritty, and you've got to say, look, you got to treat it with compassion, but at the same time, you got to be real, and you got to say, look, we just can't let it affect the rest of our society. We can't let the homeless problem bring down what is happening in the rest of society. We got to find a legitimate way that we can make some change and help them out and help out our society.
You hear that, Virginia? Sounds like someone's getting ready to run for some type of office.
Yep.
Getting
Look
down,
out, Oprah.
Getting down and gritty. I mean, there's some buzz phrases I'm liking over here. I would love to be your campaign manager.
Okay,
There will be scandals.
That's not a great way to start. I
No,
would
no,
if you're trying to sell it.
Tell the people now. Yeah, we are not clean. There's going to be some shit you may not like or agree with, but we're keeping it real.
We're keeping it drunk.
Yeah, there may be a press conference where one of us is hammered. That
Or both of us.
That's a good chance. We're letting the people know that's how we roll.
Okay, so don't be surprised
Yeah.
when you're like, what did I vote for? We told you this was going to happen.
And I think people respect that.
Okay. Well, let's see here. So anyway, she said, you guys are awesome. P.S. Kev, love the shirt and hat. Go Vols. So
What's going on with you today? You got a new sport team on.
You're Tennessee tricked out.
Didn't know you were a huge Titan fan.
it's not Titans.
Who is it?
Tennessee Volunteers.
I didn't know you were a big Volunteer fan.
Yeah,
He
no.
loves volunteering.
I do. I was just talking about volunteering. KVJ Volunteer Army. That's what I'm trying to encourage people. Hey, they do it in Tennessee. Let's do it
Boy,
here, too.
If you can get as many people as the Tennessee Volunteers got, you'll have a huge KVJ Volunteer Army.
That's what we need, right? So, yeah. I know this is one place that I stopped on my little road trip around Thanksgiving. I just haven't had a chance to wear this yet. So,
Orange is a good look on you.
No, it's not. That's why I don't wear it that often. Orange doesn't work for me. It's like, thank God I'm not like a full-time volunteer fan, but
I'm just telling you, I think it looks good on you.
thank you. Well, it's where my family's from. So it's kind of like you look at the origins of it, and my family, a lot of them, the southern side, they're all from Tennessee. So
There's a song for you in Tennessee. Remember that commercial? I think I always bring that up. And you
Was
guys,
it Tennessee tourism?
It was about bringing people into Tennessee. It's a
Okay.
very catchy tune.
yeah, beautiful place,
I
beautiful
hear it
state.
is,
Oh,
man. I
it's
wanna go.
lovely. Yeah.
I'd love to go to Tennessee with you. Just kind
Yeah.
of explore.
You would love
Yeah, I think you'd like it.
the down home country, like
Yeah.
just vibe.
I love it.
Find you a sweet wife in Tennessee, Bird. Just saying.
You like their food. Everything's fried.
The food you got me. I don't know about this Tennessee wife you're talking
Oh,
about.
she gonna make you biscuits and gravy. She gonna rub that penis.
Oh,
She gonna do it all.
All right, now you're talking. So biscuits and gravy and rubbing my penis.
Maybe at
some
the-
biscuits, and I'm gonna just polish up your penis.
I mean, that Sounds just to eat biscuits and then get a hand job at the same time. That is the textbook definition of heaven.
Well, shit. Let's go to Tennessee.
You need a hand job, and I'm here to volunteer.
Oh my gosh.
So I call them the volunteers.
I mean, is it weird Kevin's Southern woman voice gave me a half a boner?
Not at all. Intern Alyssa said, yes.
I love her. I miss intern Alyssa. She was old school, like way back in the beginning.
Yeah, she said, I turned on the live stream, and Kev, you're rocking that beautiful orange and power tee. So she's a volunteer fan as well. They come out.
Nice.
That's why we're so many different sports teams. Makes so many people happy.
Brings people together, then you got some loudmouth prick you work with grilling you about why you're wearing different teams.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Alyssa said, I'm 43 and I hate grocery shopping, and I gladly pay somebody to do it for me. No shame in my game. Yeah, I think it's, I think more and more people are doing that. The skills are out there, and people are finding good, productive businesses where they're, like I said, I do the food delivery service thing, pay about $7 a meal, and it's great. Nice, healthy stuff. And people are saying, yeah, hey, screw it. It's not one thing I want to do in my life, so.
And that's fine. But I think it's a different thing that you're talking about when you say cooking a dinner or grocery shopping and changing a tire or sewing a button. It's just different.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of people that do the road service. If you're in South Florida, they come and they take care of your car.
I mean, I just can't believe you're so hell-bent about this fucking sewing of a button.
I'm sorry. I believe in it.
Who's sewing buttons?
I sew buttons all the time.
She's really into it. She don't want the art form to die.
I wore this red dress a few weeks ago, and my butt's a little bigger, so I popped out the seam in the back of it where the butt is, and I sewed it back together.
I don't think I've ever sewn one button in my life. Have you sewn a button?
No.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe way back in the day, but it's not something I really don't know if I don't know if I'd be able to do it now.
Mama, you're living up to your name right now, and you got some 1900s shit going on.
I guess I just believe in the skill. I think when you're in a pinch, you don't need to rely on anybody if you know how to sew. You can sew it yourself.
I don't know of a time that a button's ever taken me out, though.
Fabric's going to rip.
I'm just thinking about these life-threatening moments where I'm like, oh, fuck, I got to sew a button. Shit, like that's never going to happen.
Calling off my plans.
It happens to me.
I don't know, man.
Stephanie here said, hey, everybody, of course, a restaurant story. I worked at a place just outside of Atlanta, Hooters. And the cops were called 3 times in one day to the establishment because, one, the general manager of the business, who is married, was sleeping with 2 of the waitresses. Neither were his wife. Both knew he was married and was okay with that, but one day on shift, they found out about each other and got into a full-on fist fight in the middle of the floor.
Oh, Lord. Jesus. Take the wheel. What is going on?
Cops called once. Later that day. The wife somehow found out about this girl fight over her man and shows up about an hour later, throwing a brick through the main front window and shattering glass everywhere as she is screaming, then comes in and starts throwing punches at her husband while screaming she wants a divorce and is taking the kids.
Okay.
Police called for the second time.
Table 10, your wings are ready.
Third time, total separate entity, but the cook's car was stolen from the parking lot the same shift, and the cops were called for that. 3 Hooters police calls in one day.
I mean, that's just good, clean fun right there.
What an epic day.
Wow. How about that?
If you're working there, I'm kind of happy. I'm like, this is making the day go by real quick.
Oh, I mean, imagine if you didn't work that day. You work every other day but that one. You're going, this is the day I took off.
Something tells me there's drama that happens at Hooters a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we go.
Well, yeah, and for the wings, of course, Virginia.
Hannah said, I was wondering if you guys have any tips on dealing with harassment through social media. I'm currently being slandered on Facebook, and I'm having a hard time dealing with it. Being in the public eye, I know this is something that you deal with. What are tricks you have to deal?
Lawyer. If it's truly slander and it's not true and they're not taking it down, you got to lawyer up. If they're not taking it down.
Screenshot number 1. Make sure you got proof of it. Yeah, and
that
then
sucks, but that's what you got to do.
Then the burden is on them to prove that it is true. If it is true, then you're screwed, and don't lawyer up. Just do your business better.
But what about if someone's just giving an opinion, but it's still considered, it's still fucking up your shit?
Well, somebody's like, I think that you are a bad mom. I think that whatever, you are entitled to your opinion. Opinion does not cover slander or libel.
Okay, I think you are a bad mom. I think you smoke cigarettes in your kid's face. What if that's she's saying that as an opinion, but it's basically telling everyone the crime. What if that wasn't true and you're just doing that? And you can't prove that. Can that person who posted that, can they get sued for that?
Well, I think your response is, well, prove it. If somebody says, I think you do cocaine, I'd be like, prove it. So they don't
But
have proof.
that shouldn't be just all that they get, though.
That's
prove
not
it.
slander.
Someone-
That's not slander or libel if you say, I think you do cocaine. If you say, you do cocaine, then that's when it's slander or libel because you've made a factual statement. Mm-hmm. Thus the difference.
But you could skirt. I think she does cocaine. You can tell by her eyes and the way she's walking around with her kids. I'm almost certain she does cocaine. Then people on social media, they'll pile on. Oh, you're right, she does cocaine. And if it's not true, that still can fuck someone's
You can plant
world
the
up.
seed, but I think on that you can do that because they don't want to get to a point where no one can share their opinions on something. And that's the whole thing about libel and slander is you can't ruin somebody's life, but at the same time, you can't restrict speech to a point where no one can ever have an opinion and share their opinions about things.
No, I'm not saying you can't have an opinion, but if that opinion is damaging to that person's life, is that not still?
Unfortunately, that's part of life. If somebody has an opinion, if someone has an unfavorable opinion about you and they share it with somebody.
No, not unfavorable opinion. Unfavorable opinion that does like saying something that could ruin their life that's not true about them.
Yeah, you can go up and you can say, you can talk about somebody at your work and be like, I think they do cocaine. And be like going, yeah, I do too. Yeah, you're allowed to do that. That's not slander or libel. But if you say, oh, they do cocaine, I know they do cocaine, then that's
That's
right
crazy, man. That
that's
word.
That's the difference. Yeah, that's the difference between it. One's allowed, one's not.
They both pretty much do the same thing.
They can, except the other one doesn't put the nail in the coffin. The other one's not is a matter of fact. It's your opinion. And then I think they look at the person themselves and say, what's the value of that opinion is usually the value of the person. So if the person has no value and people don't think much of them anyway, then they're not going to value their opinion. I think it's kind of how it goes. That's why don't be a shit talker. People won't value your opinion. Let me see here. Got this email from Jason. Said, isn't it time to restore the Whacked Out News intro to its full former glory? I missed the first verse. That was the one about eating faces and all that kind of stuff. And I don't think we're ever going to go back to that. I think we'd rewrite it before we go back to that. That was at a time and place. And unfortunately, certain things change time.
Yeah.
Now
they want less of us.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
No long form stuff.
Well, I don't think that's what they're talking about. I
uh-uh.
don't think you're paying attention to what they said. They're saying they want the song back. The reason why we took the song away was because of the content that was in the song, eating the people's faces.
Yeah.
I actually share the same opinion as the person that wrote in. I differ than you and Virginia on this. I think that
people I look at what I can justify and can't. And if a family member heard that on the show or got back to them or somebody that was affected by that, and they would say that verse is very hurtful to us to hear this.
But
and
it
we
wasn't
listen to
about
your
that,
show.
though.
I know, but it's so specific and so random, eating faces in that story that happened in Tequesta.
I completely hear you.
I couldn't justify it. If they came to me, I'd be going, well, we had that before that even happened and whatever. I would feel like a jerk for trying to defend that. And so for me personally, it's about a lot of times what you can live with, whether it's right or wrong. I wouldn't want to be associated with that song because of that. So for me, yeah, maybe I'm a pussy.
But couldn't you say that about anything we talk
Well,
about or do?
There's a Biggie song that he's got blowing up like the World Trade. Talking about the World Trade Center. If that was in a song that we had and all the people that lost their life on 9/11, would you want to be bumping a song that said blowing up like the World Trade?
No, I think you're comparing. I think that's a bit of a stretch for a comparison.
It's just that more people are affected by that, but that doesn't mean anything to the person who's directly affected by that.
I get your point. My point is, though, but we also do other things. We talk about other things. We play audio of other things that, without a doubt, are going to trigger a memory for other people that have gone through tragedy. And that line in that song had nothing to do with that family.
Didn't. I think it's so specific.
That's all I'm saying. It comes down to semantics.
So specific. You can't take away talking about car accidents or something like, I lost someone in a car accident. But, that's more general than someone dying because they horrifically had their face eaten off. And it was done for comedy purposes. To me, it lost the power of comedy, when it happened twice and it was so personal to the community. That to me, where I was like, I don't know. And that's just my own take. I could be completely off.
Oh, yeah, look, I actually disagree with you, but that's, and we still like each other after.
Well, maybe we can take a vote. Should we put the Eating Faces song back in? What do you think, Virginia?
Well, because now you put it that way, that's a tough way to do it.
I don't know. It's kind of like, I don't think I ever could defend it to the family if they came and said, I mean, is it worth it for what we're doing?
But we had a thing the other day where Kevin had a question about someone who passed away in the area, and people did not like that. They thought that was distasteful.
And I agree with them. And I agree. I went on. I said, I shouldn't ask that question. And so I take that back. And that was a mistake I made. But it was something that I was in the moment trying to make it quickly, and I regretted that moment. And I thought I was wrong for asking that. So, and I think it would be wrong to do this as well.
Yeah, I don't think we should put the song, especially because Kevin does not want it. And I completely hear your side of the story. My whole thing is there's just other stuff we do on the show that falls under that same criteria, and I just always want to know what that line is.
Well, it's going to be a case by case on everything. Everything you got to look at individual and say, is it worth it?
It's not even worth doing a vote, in my opinion, because you're not comfortable with it. Virginia's not comfortable with it.
Well, and we will. I mean, and here's the thing: we will continue to do things. I totally, you know what? It was when I saw how it did, I thought the question that I'd asked would be a little bit more isolated, and it wasn't, and it was too backed up to things that were too jovial. And I should have known that when I wrote the question. And so, but I made a mistake. In the moment, and I owned up to it. I'm like, I blew it, because somebody sent in a text about it. And I'm like, I said, I blew it. I said, that was a bad mistake, and I felt bad. But I had control over that after the fact. I'm going to continue to make mistakes.
And I wasn't bringing that up to make you feel bad by any means.
No, I know that. But, to let people know, there will be times where we may make a crack or something might happen, and it sounds real bad.
Yes.
And right as soon as it happened, I'm like, that sounds bad. Damn it, Kev, why'd you do that? And I felt really bad because I'm like, I just used bad judgment in that moment. Things happen really fast, and you got to make so many decisions that some things will get away from you and you'll make a bad decision. But that seems more deliberate. Like, you can stew on that. You can think about that. The fleeting, in that moment, I made the wrong call in that moment. That was on me. That was bad. But
yeah, definitely. I was not trying to do a pile on Kev.
Yeah, but for me, putting that back in, and somebody would ask me then, be like, well, you had to deliberately think about it. You had to intentionally go and put that back in, and then that's where that's harder for me to defend. So that's my own personal thought on that. To me, change the verse. Just come up with a different verse.
Yeah, well,
the guy that we've got a guy that for people that don't know. Yeah, in fact, I got to talk to them today. They listen to our show. They're kind of like a coach, and they listen to stuff and like going, hey, you try this, you could do this and this and that. One thing they keep pushing me on, we don't do everything they say. It's just, what we agree on. They may make a point, be like, okay, I agree with that. I'll work on that. But, one thing that they're getting on me about is, Kev, you need to change up some of your show themes. Like, they've been on, they're getting stale, they've been around for a while. And I'm like, well, to me, honestly, I said, we have changed every now and then. We'll change up a theme, and people are like going, why'd you change that? I like that. I knew every single word, and I don't really hear people that are ever like going, when are you going to change up those themes? I said, that doesn't happen to me. I don't hear that.
Yeah, that to me, that's just one of those things that there's other things we need to worry about.
Right.
That's an opinion thing. Mm-hmm. I'm a person that loves hearing the same type of theme, but that's an opinion. Virginia might have something different. That's why those type of critiques are really tough to...
If it's good and it's catchy and it's quick and it's a theme that people sing in their car, I don't think you should change it.
I'm with Virginia on that.
Mm-hmm.
And now, if it's old or if it's stale or if there's references that are out of date and it just needs to be freshened up, then sure. But, just to change it, I don't agree.
I'm with you on that.
I think people like familiarity. There was a couple themes that, when I was a kid growing up, I didn't mind. I loved the fact it was always the same theme tuning in. And actually, the only time you had a problem was when they changed it. You'd be going,
exactly. I used to get so pissed
this,
off.
Man. Like, why'd you change this? I love that. I never was like going, oh, not the same theme again. So, so we have a different opinion. That's why we don't change stuff. And, it mentions the same thing to me every week. So he'll probably, again, be like, are you guys going to ever change up?
Why don't you just say we talked over with the guys and said they disagree?
I'm just like, I disagree.
Because that's such a minute part of anything that...
We should change up one of the most beloved themes we have. Find the one that we get the most videos of kids singing with their parents in the car. We should change that one up and make it kind of suck, and then forward all the hate mail to this radio coach.
Yeah, I gave it a shot.
And let him see, hey, change is not always what people want.
Yeah.
Sometimes they like to sing along with a song they know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree.
And I mean, it's something where we don't do that many themes, y'all. You may hear a theme during the dirt, that I get, but the other features, you hear it once a week, if that. It's not like it's making or breaking anything.
Jason also says, why does Jerby claim to hate the dirt of the day when he clearly sings in the intro to the segment? You know we need that dirt of the day.
Yeah, Jerby.
Yeah,
Well,
because you sang that. You mean
sang my intro, talking about intros.
I don't really hate the dirt of the day. Do I think we do it a lot? Yeah. Do I think we could maybe knock one more down? Maybe.
We just knocked one down this year.
I remember a time where we did 2, and it was a good time.
But they were each 20 minutes long.
They were long. They were
so
long.
technically, we actually do less dirt now than we used to.
I definitely don't hate the dirt, but I like to rib Virginia. That's half my act is ribbing Virginia. It's half her act.
I would love some ribs.
Biker Steve just got into NPR, but he said there's a lot of different titles: TED Talk, technology, money, etc. What is it you're listening to on NPR? If you could let me know. And P.S. Jaybird, go fuck yourself.
He's right. There is a lot of crap on NPR. You got to wade through it and find the best stuff. And I think the best thing they've got going is a show called This American Life. It's a story about stories from America, from people from all
Love that.
over. It's hosted by a guy named Ira Glass, who's really solid. It's spawned a couple of those serial podcasts, but the original. And if you download their app for This American Life, there's an app that I have on my phone. You can go back into the archives of This American Life because this show has been on for forever out of NPR in Chicago. You can go back and listen to old shows from 10, 12 years ago, and they are just phenomenal stories. Really well done. That's my favorite thing on NPR.
Okay. There you go, Biker Steve. That is your good info from Virginia there for the day. I was reading this story about this old couple here, Miami tourist. It's Eugene and Carol.
Aw, Eugene.
Eugene and Carol came to Miami. They flew into a MIA on September 13th, 2017, and weren't really paying attention to license number or driver's name of the taxi. They're on vacation, ready to have a little bit of fun. They just thought they were hopping into a cab to head to the hotel. And for about 45 minutes, the couple relaxed in the back of the taxi, not realizing they'd be charged more than $35 per mile for that trip, or about $17 per minute.
What?
Wound up with a $700 plus bill for the cab.
What?
Yes.
How?
That seems astronomical and totally out of the legal thing that these taxis can charge.
That's
They can't
taxi gouging.
Yes,
charge that much.
$777.44. Didn't realize it until, because they'd given their credit card and they got home and were checking to see what they'd spent on the trip. And that's when it came up. It was from Miami Airport to the Crown Plaza in Hollandale Beach. Ride should have cost about $70. It included no sales tax.
So how is he getting away with that?
It'll be interesting to see if they go in and be able to find out who it is. But there's 2,121 licensed taxis in Miami-Dade County, 38 companies providing the service, and they didn't have a license or anything. And so they're trying to go and I think try to track it back. I would assume probably using the credit card information that they've gone through.
How did they jump in a cab and the cab had their credit card information already?
They gave them the card. They said, you need the card for the ride. They used a device that is produced by a company called Square Inc., but it allows anyone who signs up for the app to charge credit cards for products and services via their phone.
Yeah, Square. You plug it into your phone. A lot of merchants have it.
Is it a scam?
It was a scam. It was a cab scam, and they just had a cab. They had this device to charge them, and were charging them a crazy amount of money. They were old. They were just hey, got off a flight, weren't really thinking, were spun around, and boom.
You do that to the wrong person, they'll kick that cabbie's ass.
I don't think they realized when they got out of the car.
Yeah, no, they didn't until they got home. That's when they realized, and they look at the credit card. They're going, wait, $777 for that cab ride?
That's ridiculous.
The hell is that? Just a bad story again for cabs. I mean, anybody's like, I assume the same thing could happen through Uber, I guess. I don't know.
No, because Uber sets their rates. It's not set by individuals. It's set by the
Somebody couldn't fake that they were
app.
an Uber and have the same kind of credit card thing and somehow get an Uber sticker and put it in their window.
You can fake being an
Yeah.
Uber. I just read an article how someone was faking being an Uber, beat the system, and then no one.
How did they get paid, though?
He looked legit. I think it wasn't about him getting paid. It was about him just getting access to people.
Ooh.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you have your own little skimmer thing like that and you're able to get people's credit card.
You don't give your card when you get in an Uber. It's all done on the app. And anybody who asks you to give your card when you get in an
That
Uber
would be your thing.
is
Yes.
not a real
Yeah.
Uber.
Well, maybe that's why this working with the cab, why they didn't try an Uber then, is because with the cab, people aren't thinking. You don't necessarily have a cab app,
That's a shame.
that works. But that might be a major knock if this becomes a thing or if this story gets out. Where it's like going, I'm not going to take a cab because I got to give somebody my credit card and I trust an app, not this.
Right.
Why the shit are people taking cabs still anyway? They are literally triple an Uber or a Lyft.
They really are. They're
Yeah.
way more expensive. The problem is, I think this couple just thought they were jumping in a regular cab. It probably
Yeah.
looked like a regular cab.
And they look like they're probably about 70 years old. And so that's something, to them, when you've been doing something your entire life, you
Yeah.
hold on to it a lot longer.
You're right.
And I don't know the breakdown, the demographics of who's using Uber versus who's using cabs, but it seems like it would skew a lot younger. And people over the age of 60 might be the people who are still taking cabs because they don't fully understand what Uber is and they don't have apps or understand how to use them.
You're right.
And so that's how you wind up getting an old couple like this.
I'm thinking of Ann trying to get an Uber or a Lyft, and it would
So-
never work.
Out of convenience, she just hops right into, that cab, hands him a credit card.
That's a
and
shame.
It's a scam.
I gotta go over the Uber ways with Ann because she needs to know that. She needs to know that it's a button and what to look for because I don't want her taking no cab if she has to take a cab.
Well, you can actually set up an Uber ride for her. It doesn't have to be done from her location. You can remotely.
Yeah, but I'm just saying the whole process.
Right.
Walking out, looking for the car, making sure that she knows.
It's tricky. And the first few times you do it, it's tricky
It
even
is.
for a younger person.
Mm-hmm.
You like when we talk about Ann because you can be the younger person.
For once, I'm not the old lady.
You're going to say young person, but then you're like, I'm not young, but I'll say
No.
younger.
Younger.
Got an email from Lindsay Coldren. Said, hey, what's up? Longtime member of KVJ Nation. I moved from Delray Beach last year to Costa Mesa in Orange County, California. Still listen to the show every day. It makes me feel like I got a piece of Florida right here with me.
Aw.
California is actually almost as crazy as South Florida, but not quite as bad. But last night, a plane did an emergency landing on the freeway right next to my house. It was crazy, and I thought it was whacked out newsworthy. Miss going to all your events so much. I don't know if y'all remember, but the last one I went to, I was the girl that cut her head open and had to get stitches. This was at the Tap House on Clematis. I think you were there, Virginia.
Jeez. The Tap House. Was that a snack pack show?
If someone's bleeding, then yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it might have been, yeah.
Oh, there was so many fun people there that night. I remember sitting at the bar with this group of
So many
girls.
fun, bloody people.
Well, until the blood, it was an awesome time.
Yes.
Snack Pack getting back together in 018. It's coming. So you need to get your rapping voice ready to go, Vicious V.
I'm ready.
She's ready
Let's
to go.
do it. I'm ready.
Let there be blood.
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
are you going to go? Where are you going to perform?
We don't know yet.
Will you sign bread?
I don't know if bread's even. Is bread dead? I don't know.
Is bread toast?
is toast, yes. Bread is
My
toast.
favorite joke.
I don't think he loves it, but I.
Oh,
writes out
bread.
pretty well.
I got to put a call at the bread.
Yeah. All right. That idea sounds half baked.
Oh.
Oh, bread humor. Hey, all right. Start writing the jokes. All right, y'all have an amazing day. We will talk to you later. Goodbye.